Welcome back to Four Pages. I'm Maya Clark, and I'm joined with Kendra Perkins from Storybridge. You are their executive director, and so tell me about y'all's mission and kind of how Storybridge came to be.
Okay, it's been such a fun journey. We're actually celebrating 10 years next year, so 2026 will be our 10th year. And at the time when we started in 2016, I was still full-time elementary educator with AISD. So my career as a teacher started in 2000, and then I resigned to do Storybridge full-time in 22. But I was in the trenches with kindergarten, first grade, fourth grade were my classroom teaching experiences. And then after those classroom years, I got into reading recovery, which is a kind of an intense one-on-one reading specialist deal where I just had one first grader at a time, but all day. And these were the ones who needed intense intervention in first grade. And that was such a rewarding time. And that probably taught me more about the process of learning to read and I'm sure that it kind of ignited a spark for the challenges of children for which reading does not come easy, you know. And so after those years, I got into curriculum with AISD. So kind of all across the elementary reading curriculum spectrum. And then, but really Storybridge, when I look back and think about it, started as just a community service desire for me as a mom, for my own two boys to be able to serve the community and have a better perspective of what Amarillo looks like and the ways that they are blessed, and start inspiring them to give back. And so books was an easy place to do that as a parent. So they had lots of books growing up, and I kind of didn't really do a lot of research until then. So I had been a classroom teacher for 16 years, or an educator, when we brought a lot of their outgrown books to the park and gave one away to each kid that was there. And then that first day was really just a real broken heart moment for me, realizing, man, for the first time I really thought about the impact of not growing up with books in your home, and how much harder that makes it for a 5-year-old who's coming into school and expected to learn to read right away. I mean, now kindergarten looks a lot different than it did for me in the early 80s. But yeah, they have to be on those first levels of reading right when they start kindergarten. We don't give them very much time which means we kind of have thought about them coming as a blank slate and just being able to pick that up in kindergarten kind of organically. And that's not true. There are 5 years of literacy foundation that are required for them to be able to learn to read right when they get to school. Lots of things that we don't think about that really have to be in place. A lot of exposure to books, a lot of being read to and with, a lot of talking about books, a lot of vocabulary. And when those foundational building blocks are missing, we're looking at years and years of a kid being labeled behind and trying to catch up. So that's the mission of Storybridge, is to threefold now. We want to make sure that all of our kids in our area have at least 20 great age-appropriate books at home from the time they're born through elementary is kind of our window of mission. We feel like if we can create and sustain a reader, a child who says, "I'm a reader, I love to read," through those years, you've got them for life. You know, they'll be okay. That's our challenge. So, and then also we want to support parents in those birth to 5 years before they're handed to a teacher that's going to teach them to read. And really educate parents as to those building blocks that they have to get at home or in an organized childcare situation. Just making sure that all those early inputs are there and accessible to them. And then just to unlock all the magic of being a reader, so to inspire and motivate them to keep reading, to keep searching for new books, to follow their interests, and just unlocks really the best future for them.
And so you talked about kind of age-appropriate books for kids, you know, from 0 to 5 before they start school, but also as they get through elementary. And so what are the differences in kind of those age-appropriate books as they get older, you know, going from like the more sensory-driven books to, you know, reading like closer to chapter books and things of that nature?
Yeah, what a great question. And I brought a stack of books. I'm a sucker for a visual aid. So I kind of have this, can y'all see?
Yeah, if you hold it up into the camera, they'll be able to see it. Yeah.
Like right?
Yep, perfect.
Okay. Well, I'll start with the littlest one. I'll just kind of go through my stack pretty quickly. I didn't realize I grabbed the Spanish version of this one, but obviously, Very Hungry Caterpillar. Yeah. I won't try and say it. But so this one is always one of my favorite examples of a book that we don't realize how much information we are giving a child's brain reading The Very Hungry Caterpillar. And this is one that they love to read over and over. Really look for books that they want to touch. Right. So, which is why you'll see books in this birth to 3 category that are tactile and bumpy or satiny or spiky or felty or flaps. Yeah. You know, we want the child to interact with the book. That leads to being able to point, to label. Some of the concepts that we don't realize a child picks up at a year old, maybe. Colors, names of food, metamorphosis. I mean, like some crazy, intricate concepts that we are planting that they won't talk about yet because they don't have the language, but we're planting all of those seeds so that when they get to kindergarten, all these concepts are already there. And so that's a good example of one of those foundational. That's kind of the first way that we get kids to be a reader is the books are toys that they will go in their mouth. Yeah. They will get, I mean, this one has been loved. Yeah. And that's the point. We want them to see books as fun. Yeah. There's another example of a tactile book. So we're probably looking at a little older now, 3 or 4, somebody who is a Spider-Man fan. So you'll see a lot of books that really draw kids with the character, like Paw Patrol or, you know, as a Bluey. Yeah. So if we have some readers that they don't know they're a reader yet, but they know they're a Paw Patrol fan, or they know they're a K-pop Demon Hunter fan, then we can get them into a book through a character that they love. So that's one of the things that we encourage parents to do. Okay, and then I love this one so much. Just a classic Llama Llama Red Pajama. So the way that this book rhymes, the rhythm, I'm just going to give you just a quote. Llama Llama Red Pajama reads a story with his mama Mama kisses baby's hair, Mama Llama goes downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
That rhyme pattern is something that brains naturally latch onto.
Yeah.
And so they are hearing the difference between the word hair and stare.
Yeah.
And they're hearing the difference between the word llama and mama.
Yeah.
And that is so important when learning to read.
Yeah.
Being able to hear how words are similar and how they're different. And then later connecting them to what it looks like, what the word llama looks like compared to the word mama.
Yeah.
After they have been able to hear that difference. And it's
cute.
So fun.
We read this when I was in school too. So
Yes.
these are like bringing back some of my childhood memories.
Good.
Like The Hungry Caterpillar, like we read that one too.
I love the
Yeah.
nostalgia of
Yeah.
books too. I was talking to a volunteer recently who's a grandmother, and she was saying the same thing. There's so much more. I'll kind of come at this as a teacher, but there's so much more to giving the gift of literacy to the next generation that has to do with passing on the stories, which goes back to when we were just people around a fire.
Yeah.
That's how we communicate. It's how we teach our children to pass down the stories that were told to us, like you're saying. I love this one. There's a monster in your book. There are a few different titles that are like this, where it's asking the kid to do something with the book to affect what happens on the next page, which I think is super fun. So, and then as the child is getting older and listening to longer stories, you're teaching them so much just about what it means to be a kid, what it means to be in a family, what it means to be a human being. This one is a sweet story about an invisible friend. Ruthie Ann has an invisible friend named Jessica, and she goes everywhere with her. And the child can tell on the page that Jessica's not there.
Yeah.
But she's a very important part of Ruthie's experience in the world. And then she goes to school, and a girl comes up and wants to be her partner, and she says her name is Jessica. And so, anyway, it's just a sweet story about interacting with peers.
Yeah.
And the power of our imagination. My husband had an imaginary friend. He'll hate that I'm telling you this on recording. But lots of kids have that. And so this is a way that those kids can be like, okay, I have a friend kind of like Jessica.
Yeah.
You know. Too Many Tamales. I just grabbed some examples of.
Yes.
So in this story, kids learn about having to confess to doing something that they know is not going to be smiled upon.
Yeah.
So she thinks she lost her mother's wedding ring in a batch of tamales. So they eat all the tamales looking for the wedding ring, still can't find it, and so the character has to go approach her mom and confess that they think somebody swallowed. And so this is this is a safe way for a kid to have some experience with truth telling, with being sorry, with taking risks.
Some accountability in there.
Yes, yeah, all of that, where in a story there are no stakes, you know. But in life, that's something we all have to face at some time or another, multiple times.
Yeah.
And so being able to experience it through a character is so much safer, and it gives them something to build on when they face it in real life. So you also have books that are teaching the child about the world we live in, teaching them about, where animals live, how the seasons change, what it's like to go to school without having to sit down and hear a lesson about it.
Yeah.
But they're learning all these things just through stories. I don't have personal experience with elephants.
Yes.
They don't live here.
Yeah.
But so being able to get knowledge about the world we live in through books, things that they don't have access to in their daily life. Bats. I don't want firsthand experience with bats. I'd be happy to learn about them through a book. Thank you very much. And then you've got kids by this time soaking in knowledge, having specific interests, hearing things about a certain animal that they get drawn into and they want to learn more. I'll never forget, like my youngest son could not get enough about the, what was it, an Arctic fox or something? It was a very niche animal that he read everything he could. If it was about this Arctic fox, he would read it. He knew all the trivia about this one animal. But you have kids that feel that way about one particular president, and they can't get enough information about this one guy, or one celebrity, or one time in history. So Magic Treehouse is a great series.
I love the Magic Treehouse.
Oh man, it has been such a benefit to so many millions of kids, probably. It, for those who may not be familiar, do you want to talk about it?
The Magic Treehouse?
Yeah, the series.
So there's a lot of different books in the Magic Treehouse series, and they kind of touch on several different things. And so they're really something for everyone. Like that one's about like penguins, but then like there could be something about like maybe siblings or something. And so for me, I liked reading the ones that were like all the girly things. Like I was like super girly, and so I loved the Magic Treehouse things that were super girly because it takes you on like an adventure basically.
Yes.
As you're reading the book, and so every time you read the book, it's kind of like a new adventure that you get to go on within the book. And so it makes it fun to kind of see like what's going to happen next. And like you have to keep reading to see. And so I like the adventure aspect of the Magic Treehouse and kind of like having these characters who are going on the adventures and they're taking you with them as they kind of figure it out.
Yeah. So Jack and Annie stay the same through every book in the series. They're brother and sister, like you said. So once a child knows Jack and Annie, it's easier to pick up the next book in the series or another one that they're interested in because they already have like a connection to that character. So there's a lot of these, and this is a great series to teach kids about the history of people all over the world, places all over the world. They've got mummies and the like revolution, which goes into this series, which is great. I grabbed a graphic novel version of the I Survived series. Not all of them are graphic, but this one is I Survived the Nazi Invasion. I think she has 4 that are in graphic novel form now. And I don't know, I just heard her talk, 25 that are just regular novels. This is a great series, too, for readers to learn more about a specific thing, a specific time period they're interested in. They're all tragic, and for some reason that's very fascinating to all of us. So the Titanic has the latest one she wrote is about the Dust Bowl. So that was really exciting. Okay, so anyway, and then you've just got, so I kind of went through you're getting into chapter books that teach. And then there are just some books that are just fun. This one, kids cannot get enough of. Dog Man, Dave Pilkey is a very prolific author, wrote Captain Underpants also. And so these books that just keep kids smiling while they're reading and laughing. They're soaking in all this language and getting all the benefits of literacy, the problem, the solution, the cause and effect, the beginning, middle, and end, all those concepts of literacy that we need them to get, and it's fun, and
Yeah.
it's light, and it makes them want to keep reading, and that's
Yes.
a win every time.
Yes.
Junie B. Jones, I would kind of
Classic.
put in that
was a fan favorite. When we were talking about books in the newsroom, I was like, did you guys read Junie B. Jones?
Yeah.
And all the girls were like, yes! Like, Junie B. Jones is such, like, a good classic, and she's just, like, this mischievous kind of kid who's always into something, but it's so fun to, like, see what she's getting into. Love
It's
her.
so fun. Little plug for Amarillo Little Theater is putting this on the stage in December, so
Nice.
everybody get tickets to that. That'll be so fun, especially those that grew up with her. So what I love about Junie B. Jones, and from my generation, I'm going to date myself, it was Ramona.
Okay.
So I think of Junie B. Jones as like the next generation of Ramona books, which are still being published. But when I read Ramona books or Junie B. Jones books, as a kid, what it made me think was I was able to evaluate her behavior.
Right.
And sometimes I was with her. You know, this is a decision I would have made, you know. And sometimes it wasn't, and I'd be like, oh, Ramona, that was not a good idea.
Yeah.
But I can experience that through her in a book.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's just no stakes. So I'm learning what happens when you lie.
Yeah.
What happens when you cheat? What happens when you take something that's not yours? And I'm doing it through someone else's experience. And the more of that we can give kids, the better prepared they are for those kinds of experiences we all have in real life.
Yes.
This is kind of the tail end of what we do at Storybridge, 4th, 5th grade. These are just some examples. Sarah Weeks, Save Me a Seat. In this story, Joe, just a American kid whose friends all left to a different school, and he's feeling pretty lonely this year.
Yeah.
Meets a kid, Ravi, whose family just moved here from India. And initially, they don't think they have a lot in common, and then they realize, actually, they do. And this is just a great experience, again, for kids to experience this through a character's eyes, because we will experience this in real life. This is a fantasy series called Warriors. I have never read this one, but every time I see it, there's a lot in the series. I had one 4th grade student, Kelton, who didn't want to read much else except this.
Okay.
So every time I see these series, I think of him. You just never know what series is going to really make a difference for a kid. I bet he read 15 Warriors series books in that year that I had him in 4th grade.
Yeah.
He was the expert in the series. So that's my plug to not give up. For parents, read with your kid. So try a Junie B. Jones book. Read it to them, with them, at night. Read a chapter every night. And then see, is this the series that they're going to want to pick up on their own and check out from the library over and over? If so, man, pat yourself on the back. You did it. If it's not, try a different series. But always read with them. I really encourage parents to read every night with their kid, to their kid. Let them hear you read and interact with a book through 5th grade. Don't stop. It's so fun.
And so for you, whenever you're reading to your kids, what are some kind of progression marks that parents should be looking out for? Like they've mastered this book, we can move on to another book. What are some things they should look out for when it comes to kind of mastering certain reading skills?
That's a great question. As a parent, I hope that they have a kind of an idea from their child's teacher. If they need some help with a reading skill, that the teacher will say, this is a struggle for him or her, and this is how you can help us at home. If you're not hearing that from a teacher, as a parent, I would just say continue to read for fun. at home. Let the child pick the book they want to read, and usually that is a good indication of the level reader you have. Is what they want to read with you, and let them decide if they want to read it or if they want to hear you read it. Again, those keeping the stakes at home really low and safe and fun will maintain a good the idea that reading is a positive addition to our life and not drudgery, not homework, but being able to be with your parent, and it becomes a special part of our bond, our relationship. It's kind of a different thing.
And so for you, you've been in the classroom as an educator, and now you have this, and you're still like expanding your reach of helping kids learn how to read and just really prioritizing literacy. And so what are 4 takeaways that you think you've learned about just the importance of literacy and reading and how it helps you as you progress in life?
4. Okay. The first one that comes to mind that I've learned, and this, I would say this is just the last few years, since COVID, probably. I think that I used to think that this problem was mostly contained in a demographic that just had very limited resources. That kids were not reading enough books because they did not own enough books, because they could not afford enough books. My mind has been stretched on that a little bit, and I'm now considering just looking at kindergarten readiness across the city. I think that we have a problem in every demographic. I think we have it's just really hard, I think, for parents to compete with screens in early childhood. I have a lot of sympathy for that. It's gotten harder and harder, and so if I had a toddler right now, I can only imagine how hard it would be to really hold the line on screens. And it's almost like it's an addictive technology for all of us, you know. And to give it to young children, we're seeing the effects both at home and in school of kids' shorter and shorter attention spans. So I have a lot of sympathy for parents fighting this battle. And I want to help, but I'm not sure how I can help. But I do think just the fact that you can afford books doesn't necessarily mean that those kids are reading enough. Let's see. Something else I've learned along the way. Man, this community is extremely generous to this mission. They're very bought in. I think it might be because we all have, or many of us have, really sweet memories of reading when we were young. And so the idea that kids are missing out on that in large numbers and getting larger makes us sad, because we have this nostalgia for that innocent, imaginary time of life where we could get lost in a book. And we want that for the next generation. So as soon as people hear that we're struggling in that area, they have been very generous to donate books, to give financially to this work. Really, those are my 2 big things. that I would share. I'd have to think about a couple other things longer.
No, that's perfect. And so for you, for parents who maybe they have a kid or they have kids who are maybe struggling with reading and struggling to find that joy, what would you say to just kind of encourage them, to kind of get through that season of, still figuring out what it's going to be, that one book or that series that kind of sparks their kids' interest in reading consistently?
Mm-hmm. I really would continue to go back to reading to them. If you feel like I'm about to lose this kid, he hates reading, and I've seen that. I know it happens all the time because reading is stressful.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not good at it. I don't like to do things I'm not good at. But if we can just read to them, I think you will hold on to them as a reader if they can just hear the words, hear the fluency, have the freedom to talk to you about the books that you're reading to them. That will continue to be a safe space with lower pressure at home. Sometimes that's not like they have to do something hard at home, but as much as possible, if you can relieve that and just read to them and kind of, and maybe it's kind of half and half. 5 minutes, do this hard thing, and then I'll read to you for 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
But something like that, but not taking that part away that keeps it fun and light.
Perfect. And so before we go, the holidays are here, school, kids are going to be out of school. How can people connect with Storybridge, and how can they help you guys with book donations as it kind of gets into the holiday season and maybe more kids need to pick up a book while they're at home over the holidays?
Well, immediately I'm thinking about January. For us, January is our big month-long book drive. So at the last weekend in January, we'll collect. Okay. So we're asking for organizations and families, individuals, to think about, especially after the holidays, when you realize I have too much stuff. We all go through that. Yeah. And you do kind of that winter clean out. If you'll remember, Storybridge is running a big community-wide book drive. We do it in honor of MLK every year, just being able to serve our community. We would love to hear from you. We'll put your organization or your family, if you want to organize like a neighborhood book drive, we'll keep a record of all those and give you a shout out on our social media and then collect that last weekend. So if you'll just kind of put a pin in that for January, we'll use a lot of book donations there. That book drive last year brought in over 18,000 books that kept us from having to cancel any book sortings or book giveaways. We've been able to maintain the number of books we give to kids. When we bring the book trailer out to elementary schools through our elementary school program, every Thursday we're at a different elementary school, probably 2 on Thursdays, but all the kids have been able to pick 5 books each out of the trailer. And last year, 2024, we were running out kind of at the last part of the year, and so we had to go down to like, you can only get 4 books each this time, or we have to limit the chapter books to 3 chapter books, and based on inventory. But this year, 2025, we've been so blessed. Those 18,000 books have lasted. We supplement, we do buy on top of that, but those gently used donations have lasted us quite a while. Such a blessing. So we're very grateful and look forward to that again this January.
Perfect. Last question. I'm going to put you on the spot here. What is your favorite book that maybe you read during your childhood or that you have read to your kids, when they were little and you were still like reading to them like every night maybe?
Okay, I love this question. And every time I'm like, I can't decide. Okay, I'll just tell you the first two that come to mind. One for me and one for my kids.
Okay.
So, Dear Mr. Henshaw, for me, was one that I read over and over in elementary school, probably third grade-ish, written by Beverly Cleary. It was about a boy whose parents were divorced, which was not my experience. So it really, kind of an example, like we're saying, like you need to read books where you do see yourself, like this character is like me in some way, and you need to read books where you are not like the character, and it gives you compassion for what humans go through. So this was a real a way for me to experience what that's like through a book. He wrote a letter to his favorite author, Mr. Henshaw. And at first the author wrote back, and the boy was really craving this communication. So he kept writing. The author finally wrote back and said, I can't keep up with you. Why don't you keep a journal? And so really his journal started every day with Dear Mr. Henshaw, but it was just a place for him to empty out what he's thinking and feeling and what's going on at school. And I loved that book. And then as a parent, there's a book called Sheep. It's a chapter book. So I read it to my boys when they were probably first and third together. It was great. It was new to me. It was one that I just picked up and read the back and thought, maybe this will be good. And I loved it. It was written from the point of view of a dog named Sheep. I know that's confusing, but so you'll see the cover has a dog on it, but the title is Sheep. Like a border collie looking dog. And this dog lives several different chapters. At first, he's a ranch dog. There's a fire, and in the fire, he gets lost. He gets separated from his ranch family. And then it just follows who finds him, and then what his name is in that next chapter. And anyway, it was really, really good, very touching. One and Only Ivan. Oh, that was so good. I'm trying to remember the author's name. I'm not going to say it because I don't know that I'm 100% right. One and Only Ivan was wonderful to read to kids. I'll stop there.
No,
there's so many good ones.
That was great. I think you start thinking about all your favorite books, and it's like, I like this one, but I like this one too.
What about you?
I would say the Junie B. Jones series. Like, growing up, like, I just loved all of the, like, kind of like the changes you saw her go through, like, going through school and, like, with siblings. Like, I just loved that she was, like, a little mischievous. And so that was really fun for me. But I liked The Babysitter's Club. I liked those books like that. Like, I have an older sister. She's 10 years older than me. And so, like, I feel like because she liked those books, like, I kind of like some of them too. And so it was, like, really fun for me to kind of just, like, I like books where they take you on an adventure. And there's, like, always some sort of movement. Like, those are really fun for me. But I know, like, my mom, there was, like, a book. It's, like, I think it's called I'll Love You for Always.
Oh, yeah.
And that one, like, is one of my favorites because it's just so sweet. And, like, if I have friends who have kids, like, I give that book to them because I'm, like, it's just such a fun book for, like, parents to read to their kids. And then you get to the end and, like, the son reads it to his mom because, like, she's gotten older. And so it's, like, you see this kid grow up, but you also see the parents grow up.
I'm getting goosebumps just listening to you talk about that one. It's so emotional,
It's so sweet because it's, like, I think as kids, a lot of times it's, like, you know, like, I'm growing up, but then you realize your parents are also growing up, too. And I think that's a lot of kids, like, first kind of experience realizing, like, I'm getting older, but, like, so is my parent. You know, and so, like,
I never even thought about that, Maya. Well, I mean, books are just so powerful. Things that we don't even realize.
And you carry them with you forever, and it's so fun.
I appreciate you being here with me today. This was so fun.
This was so fun. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I would love
welcome.
to have this conversation in different versions
Yes.
all the time. Anytime.
Yes. Thank you for being here with me today.
Of course.